It is a secret modern society as buried under layers of consumerism, distraction, and instant gratification. A secret our ancestors knew that the great masters of antiquity practiced, and that Napoleon Hill codified as the 13th step to riches in think and grow rich. It's the power of sexual transmutation, the most intimate and transformative alchemy a man can master. But here's the question that should hold you awake. Are you wasting your most precious life force in fleeting moments of empty pleasure? Or are you channeling that primal energy to build the empire of your life? For 60 days, something extraordinary happens in the male body and mind when the seed of life is preserved, when the sacred fire isn't wasted in ephemeral flames, but nurtured and directed towards higher purposes. 60 days isn't just an arbitrary period. It's a sacred cycle of cellular regeneration, of hormonal reconstruction, of awakening dormant powers that most men will never experience because they've surrendered to the tyranny of instant impulses. Imagine for a moment you're an ancient warrior, and your sexual energy is your sharpest sword. Each ejaculation is like burying that sword in the sand, wasting not just a moment, but all the accumulated strength, all the vitality that could be transformed into conquest, into magnetism, into presence. Society has conditioned us to believe that this release is natural, necessary, even healthy. But the great masters knew a deeper truth, that the man who masters his sexual energy masters his entire life. The male body is a complex alchemic furnace, where each drop of semen carries not only the potential to create life, but also extraordinary concentrations of zinc, proteins, vitamins, and, most importantly, pure life force. When this precious substance is preserved, something magical happens in the first 7 days. Dopamine receptors begin to recalibrate, freeing themselves from the constant need for external stimulation. It's as if a veil is lifted from the eyes, revealing brighter colors, sharper sounds, more intense sensations. By 14 days, testosterone reaches peaks most modern men have never experienced. It's not just a hormone, it's the elixir of masculinity, the fuel of ambition, the source of the magnetic charisma that makes other men respect you and women feel an inexplicable attraction. But this elevation isn't just physical, it's spiritual. It's the awakening of the inner warrior, who has been lulled to sleep by the constant distractions of the digital age. At 21 days, something profound transforms in brain chemistry. The mind, no longer enslaved to the vicious cycles of pleasure and regret, of arousal and emptiness, finds crystalline clarity. Decisions become sharper, goals more defined, vision more penetrating. It's as if the brain fog that accompanies modern life dissipates, revealing a horizon of possibilities that was previously obscured. At 30 days, the man who persists on this journey begins to experience what the Taoists called Jing, the preserved vital essence. His posture becomes straighter, not through conscious effort, but because the energy that once leaked through the reproductive organs now flows through the spine, nourishing every cell, every neuron, every fiber of his being. His voice gains a deeper resonance, his eyes acquire a more intense sparkle, his presence becomes magnetic in a way he himself can't fully explain. But it's at 45 days that the true alchemy manifests. Sexual energy, no longer dispersed in empty releases, begins to rise through the body's energy centers like a fiery serpent ascending the tree of life. What the Hindus call Kundalini, what medieval alchemists termed the sacred fire, what Napoleon Hill identified as the most powerful drive in human nature. All of this reveals itself not as abstract esoteric concept, but as tangible, experiential, transformative realities. Creativity explodes like a volcano that has been dormant for decades. Ideas spring from the mind like pure water springs. Projects materialize with previously unthinkable ease. Solutions to complex problems emerge as divine revelations. It's no coincidence that history's greatest geniuses, Tesla, Da Vinci, Newton, practice some form of celibacy or sexual transmutation. They instinctively knew that the same energy that creates life can create immortal works. At 50 days, the man who has remained faithful to this sacred discipline experiences a transformation that goes beyond the physical and mental. It's spiritual and mental. It's spiritual. His intuition sharpens like a blade forged in celestial fire. He begins to perceive patterns in life that previously went unnoticed. Synchronicities multiply. Opportunities arise as if the universe is conspiring in his favor. It's not empty mysticism. It's the natural consequence of a mind freed from the chains of compulsive pleasure, now capable of operating at higher frequencies of consciousness. And then we reach 60 days, the point of complete transformation. 60 days is the time it takes for the male body to complete a full cycle of sperm regeneration. But more importantly, it's the time it takes for the male to completely free itself from the narrow pathways associated with instant gratification. The man who reaches this mark is no longer the same man who began the journey. He has been literally reforged in the fire of discipline, transformed on the anvil of willpower, polished by the stone of persistence. His sexual energy, once a raging river, rushing uncontrollably to the ocean of waste, has now become a powerful dam, generating enough energy to illuminate an entire city of dreams and ambitions. Every glance carries magnetism, every word resonates with natural authority, every movement emanates a confidence that cannot be faked or acquired through superficial self-help techniques. The paradox of power, a 60-day transformation. But herein lies the deepest paradox of this journey. The man who masters his sexuality doesn't become less sexual. He becomes more magnetic. The energy previously wasted in empty releases now permeates his entire being, creating an aura of power and mystery that naturally attracts those who recognize true strength when they encounter it. Women feel an inexplicable attraction to this man, not because he is desperate or needy, but because he radiates a completeness that is rare in the modern world. If you've come this far and feel something stirring within your chest, if you recognize the truth in these words echoing in the deepest chambers of your soul, then you are ready for a transformation that surpasses anything you've ever experienced. This isn't just another personal development video. It's a call to your deepest evolution. If you want to continue receiving content that challenges the comfortable lies of modern society and reveals the secrets that can completely transform your life, subscribe to this channel now and hit the notification bell, because what you are about to discover in the next few minutes could be the catalyst for the greatest inner revolution you will ever experience. Don't let this opportunity slip through your fingers like sand in the desert. Click subscribe now, because truly awakened men don't leave destiny to chance. During these 60 days of transmutation, the male body undergoes such profound changes that they challenge our materialistic understanding of reality. The skin acquires a special luminosity, not just from improved blood circulation, but because the vital energy that once drained away now nourishes every cell from within. The eyes become crystalline windows to a regenerated soul, carrying a depth that hypnotizes and an intensity that intimidates the weak of spirit. Sleep transforms from an escape from consciousness into a restorative dive into the sacred waters of regeneration. Dreams become more vivid, more meaningful, as if the mind, freed from the shackles of compulsive impulses, can finally access the deepest archives of the unconscious. Many men report prophetic dreams, insights received during sleep, as if the preservation of vital essence creates a direct channel to higher dimensions of consciousness. The relationship with money and material success undergoes a complete revolution. The man who previously sought external compensations for his internal voids now operates from a center of genuine power. His financial decisions become more accurate, not through magic thinking, but because a clear mind, freed from the fog of instant gratification, can assess risks and opportunities with almost supernatural precision. The magnetism emanating from his presence opens doors that once seemed impossible to cross. But perhaps the most profound transformation occurs in the relationship with himself. Compulsive masturbation is, at its core, a form of self-medication, a desperate attempt to fill an existential void with fleeting sensations. It's the man running from himself, escaping the confrontation with his own shadow through the chemical numbing that follows orgasm. When this escape valve is closed, when this escape route is blocked, the man is forced to confront the inner demons he had been avoiding. In the early days, these demons roar louder than ever. Anxiety may intensify, irritability may increase, obsessive thoughts may bombard the mind like flaming meteors. But this is not a sign of failure. It's a sign that the process is working. It's the shadow emerging from the depths of the unconscious, finally demanding to be sane, acknowledged, integrated. The weak man recoils from this confrontation, returns to old patterns, returns to old chains. But the man destined for greatness embraces this darkness, like a warrior embraces the battle that will define his destiny. Through this journey through the abysses of himself, something extraordinary happens. The emotional wounds that were previously anesthetized with compulsive pleasure begin to truly heal. The existential void that was temporarily filled with artificial dopamine begins to be occupied by a genuine sense of purpose and direction. The neurotic need for external validation is replaced by an unshakable confidence born from self-mastery. The nervous system undergoes a complete recalibration. The stress response becomes more balanced. Frustration tolerance increases exponentially. The ability to concentrate extends for hours without mental fatigue. It's as if the brain, no longer addicted to the peaks and valleys of instant sexual gratification, can finally operate at its maximum potential, like a precision machine tuned by divine hands. Body language undergoes a metamorphosis that is immediately perceptible to any attentive observer. The shoulders naturally broaden, not through physical exercise, but because the preserved energy flows through the upper meridians of the body. The chest expands, not through forced breathing, but because a man who masters his sexual energy naturally breathes from the center of power, not from the top of the lungs as anxious and weak men do. His walk acquires a cadence that is both relaxed and powerful, like that of a felon that knows its strength and doesn't need to prove it with every step. Every movement carries an economy of energy that speaks of deep reserves, of abundant internal resources that are not wasted in unnecessary gestures or nervous agitation. The voice, that sacred instrument of the soul, undergoes an almost miraculous transformation. It deepens in tone, not through effort, but because it now resonates from a deeper center of being. It carries a natural authority that doesn't need volume to be heard, a presence that commands attention without demanding or begging for it. Words become scarcer, but each one carries the weight of someone speaking from authentic experience, not from the repetition of empty concepts. After 60 days, the man who persevered on this journey discovered something that modern society has tried its hardest to hide from him, that he is the architect of his own destiny, the master of his own inner kingdom, the alchemist capable of turning lead into gold through mastery over his most primal forces. He is no longer a victim of impulses. He is their master. He is no longer a slave to desires. He is the one who directs them with a firm hand towards goals worthy of his divine essence. This transformation is not merely individual, it's cosmic. When a man elevates himself in this way, when he breaks the chains of mediocrity that society has tried to forge around his wrists, when he refuses to squander his life force on empty pleasures, he becomes a beacon for other men who still wander lost in the darkness of instant gratification. His mere presence becomes a silent invitation for others to awaken to their own dormant possibilities. But the journey doesn't end at 60 days. It only begins. The man who has experienced this transmutation has discovered the secret that separates the conquerors from the conquered, the leaders from the led, the creators from the consumers. He has discovered that his sexual energy is, literally, the sacred fire that can forge any reality. His mind can conceive, and his will can sustain. Napoleon Hill wasn't speaking metaphorically when he said that the sex drive is the most powerful of all human drives. He was revealing a scientific and spiritual truth that our hypersexualized culture has tried to corrupt and distort. The energy that creates life can create anything. Multi-million-dollar companies, immortal works of art, deep and meaningful relationships, legacies that transcend generations. But this energy needs to be preserved, concentrated, directed with the precision of a laser. Each ejaculation wastes not only bodily fluids, but pure potential, crystallized possibility, liquid destiny that slips through the fingers like precious water in the desert. The man who understands this, who feels this truth, echoing in his bones, can never be the same again. The body after 60 days of semen retention is not just different, it's transfigured. Bone density increases, muscle mass develops even without intensive exercise, cardiovascular capacity improves dramatically. But these are merely the physical manifestations of a far deeper revolution. It's as if every cell in the body is imbued with a vitality that transcends the limits of materialistic biology. The connection with other people transforms completely. Superficial relationships based on neurotic needs naturally dissolve, while authentic and profound connections bloom like gardens after the rain. The man who preserves his vital essence no longer needs to desperately seek validation. He becomes naturally magnetic, attracting people who recognize and respect true strength when they encounter it. His relationship with women undergoes a revolution that is simultaneously subtle and dramatic. Freed from the compulsive need for sexual release, I can finally see them as complete human beings, not as objects for the satisfaction of impulses. Paradoxically, this liberation from sexual need makes him infinitely more attractive, because women instinctively sense the difference between a desperate man and a man complete within himself. Spirituality ceases to be an abstract concept and becomes a lived experience. The preserved energy rises through the body's energy centers like a spiral of golden light, illuminating areas of consciousness that have remained dormant for decades. Meditation becomes deeper, prayer becomes more powerful, connection with the sacred becomes as real as breathing. After 60 days, the transformed man looks back and barely recognizes who he was before. The worries that tormented him seem trivial. The fears that paralyzed him reveal themselves as paper illusions. The limits he believed to be absolute show themselves to be imaginary barriers that can be dissolved with a simple act of informed and directed will. He has discovered the secret that the ancient masters jealously guarded, that man is a potential god capable of creating realities through the force of his disciplined will. But this power doesn't come without responsibility. He who masters his sexual energy masters the creative force of the universe, and with that power comes the obligation to use it for his own elevation and that of others, never for manipulation or exploitation. The true test isn't reaching 60 days. It's what to do with the power discovered along this journey. The small men will use this force for selfish and petty ends, but the men destined for greatness will recognize that he has received a key to the deepest mysteries of existence, and will use this power to leave the world better than he found it. This is the supreme alchemy, transforming the lead of primal impulses into the gold of conscious realization, not through repression or denial, but through elevation and transfiguration. Sexual desire is not destroyed, it is elevated, refined, distilled to its purest essence and directed towards purposes worthy of an immortal soul temporarily inhabiting a mortal body. 60 days of semen retention are not just 60 days of abstinence. They are 60 days of birth, of the gestation of a new version of oneself, of inner alchemy, that transforms an ordinary man into a force of nature. It is the time required for the caterpillar to transform into a butterfly, for the seed to become a tree, for the raw metal to become a sharpened sword. At the end of this journey, looking into your own eyes in the mirror, you will no longer see the man you were. You will see the man you always should have been, the man who was patiently waiting beneath layers of social conditioning and self-destructive habits. You will see your eyes shining with the light of someone who has discovered the best-kept secret of authentic masculinity, that true power comes not from uncontrolled release, but from conscious mastery over the most powerful forces of human nature. In this moment of recognition, as you gaze upon your transformed reflection, you'll understand there's no turning back. You've crossed the threshold of transformation, emerging as a new creation, forging the fires of discipline, tempered in the waters of perseverance, polished by the stone of unwavering determination. You've discovered that within you has always resided a power capable of moving mountains. You just needed to stop wasting it on grains of sand.